All right. Assalamu alaikum. It's George here. I'm here with Asia. We are the co founders of the Thriving Muslim Coach Group. I'm really excited to be with you here. Today, um, today we're going to talk about how you can double your revenue, how you can double your income, even if you are already at six figures of revenue. Right. So this kind of came up. Today we had a question in our elite program. One of our clients, let's call her Fatima to make it easier. Um, yeah, one of our clients in our elite program had a question around sales, and here's the interesting thing. She's been a client for almost 3 years, 2 to 2.5, over 2.5 years, doing incredibly well. Built her business to pretty like she's very close to six figures, gone full time into her business. And here's the amazing thing, right? She has a fully booked one-on-one practice. Is sold out her group program in June or July, and here's the thing, right? In this conversation came up that it's in the sales part. If you think about sales, often people when they think about sales, they just think about sales is all about closing, right? But actually, we can divide sales into multiple parts, right? One part of the sales part is around booking appointments, right? Getting people, building relationship with people, connecting with people, and then inviting them into your calendar so you can coach them, you can give them an experience of your work, right? And too often people just only focus on like closing the deal, like making the proposal, right? So Fatima she used to struggle a lot with sales. She mentioned that was an issue for her. We worked a lot on that, got her confident, got her really to see that sales is serving, right? And I think that's such a big thing. That was a big game changer for me personally as well. Really seeing sales as serving, not as a way of taking from people, um, but really as a way of giving, as a way of serving and creating transformation for our clients. So we got better at the sales process of the actually what we do on the call, right? How we articulate a program and how we enroll clients into a program. She got good at that. And today she was talking about being kind of like incompetent at the booking appointment part. And here's the interesting thing: her business is almost at six figures. So some of you maybe can relate to that, right? Because the thing that we do, right? The problem that we see with coaches is that, and by the way, we've done that ourselves as well. When we say coaches, that includes us because we went through these. We used to struggle a lot, and that's one of the reasons we still do life coaching, but that's one of the reasons we focus on business coaching, because we went through those pains and those struggles, and we want to just help more coaches grow their business, right? So one thing that was happening to us, and that we see again and again with coaches, is that you want to double your income, and you start just focusing on marketing, like, oh, I need more leads. Like, the problem is leads. I don't have enough leads, right? You're trying to get more volume, right? And that's really the old way, right? The old way of growing your business. By the way, I'm not saying the wrong way, but the old way of growing your business is focus on volume, focus on intensity, and then focus on skill as the last thing, right? I'm sure you've heard that before. Just do more calls and you make more money, right? Book more calls into your calendar. While that there is some truth there, there's a better way. And the new way is really around at what we want to focus on, the foundational piece, right? It's focusing on skill first, focusing on mastery, right? So when we focus on skill first and then intensity and then volume, right, the work that we do just becomes more efficient, right? We all know the story about, I think
A
it was,
thousand, a thousand kicks, right?
yeah, yeah. So there's a story around, I mean, there's a quote from Bruce Lee, right? That I'm more afraid of the guy that knows one kick rather than, 1,000 different kicks, that has
Yeah,
practiced one kick 10,000 times. But
yeah,
here's the thing, right? It's not just about practicing one kick, because you could practice this sales call again and again and again, but it doesn't mean that you become a master just by doing your hours. You've probably heard of the 10,000 hours. unfortunately, that's not true. Yes, if you do 10,000 hours, you will get better and better, right? But it really depends on your process, right? So it's not just about practice, it's about deliberate practice, right? How are you actually improving? One of the things that we do with our clients is we consistently ask them questions like, what went well? What can you improve? What can you change to become your best, right? So by through going through this process, you actually, you get better and better. So by focusing on skill, right, we change the efficiency, right? We actually get better. So it's just a simple example, instead of going from like, oh, I had 10 calls this week, and two people sign up, like, oh my God, I need 20 calls, right? I need to work double the hours, right? You could go from, you could stay at 10 calls, but you could sign up four people, you could sign up six people by becoming better at the skill. So let me slow down and breathe for a second. We had this great conversation, and this is something that we're doing with our triathlon training as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of the biggest mindset shifts I think that happened for us as we grew, um, but also for our clients, right? A lot of people talk about 10,000 hours, like you mentioned. A lot of people talk about, that infamous Bruce Lee quote of like, I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks. But actually, what we tell our clients to do is really get, and these are key principles, right? A lot of people will say the old way is wrong, let's ditch it. But actually, what we're saying is the reframe that needs to happen is is going to change how much impact and freedom and growth you create in your business. And the reframe of this is not throwing out the volume and intensity. It's really understanding, well, what are my foundations built on when it comes to my business? Like, what
Mm.
am I really focusing on, in terms of like what I want to get out of my business, and how is that impacting the rest of the triangle, right? Because if we could show you, well, we'd put it in a triangle, right? But the better you get at the skill set, when you add intensity and you add volume, the better the results get. And I don't think people really make that connection and that link, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think, something else that comes up, I think it was Stephen Covey, right, that talks about it. Like, if you're chopping, if you have an axe and you're hitting a tree, you don't want to
Mm.
just spend, hours and hours just hitting that tree. You want to just, get better at the skill, right? Or maybe you want to actually look at your axe and make your axe more sharp, right? That's the idea here. The idea is that we want to focus on skill, right? And it's the way that's less fun and less sexy. It's more sexy to just say like, hey, what other marketing project can we take? You know, how can we get more leads? I need to do more partnerships. I need to do more, more lives and put myself out there. When all that can be great, right? But it just often means like, more, like we often think about like, oh, I need to work harder to double my income, right? I need to maybe even put more hours in, and you're already working 30 hours, 40 hours, and you're thinking about working more hours, right? That's going to cause burnout, and you don't need to. We've helped a lot of our clients grow, to six figures and multiple six figures by just by helping them actually slow down, right? Slowing down to speed up, right? And this is something that you just want to write down: slowing down to speed up, right? Because when you slow down and actually look at the skill, and you start focusing on the skill, you can just make small improvements. And depending on where your business is, like small improvements can mean really like your business can grow 30%, 50%, right?
Yeah. Plus,
And
like,
that's, yeah.
not to cut you off, but like I want to slow you down there. Like a lot of people um, will look at those numbers, like, small incremental optimization at 5 or 10%, etc., and will think, well, that's not a lot. But we actually did the numbers with one of our, Fatima, our elite client. And what we realized was that those 5 or 10% could give her an extra 50 to 100,000 in her business. that she just wasn't looking at because she was focusing on volume, um, and and doing more, so the intensity, rather than, okay, let me look at the skill set and see what I can improve. And that's what I want you all to really get out of this today. What we're sharing um, might sound overly simplistic, but actually 5 and 10% is the difference to some people in their businesses, and depending on their audiences and the amount of people they're getting, that could include anything from 10, 15,000 to 100,000, right? So it really, really works, um, if you just slow down to speed up, right? And also, personally, I think, like, if you're putting in that much effort, and consistency in showing up for your audience, you want to maximize the opportunities your audience has to actually connect with you and also buy from you, right? It's a lot easier to continue building trust with someone who's already consumed you, who already knows, likes, and trusts you to a certain degree, than trying to put someone completely new and cold in your world.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So remember, there's different ways when you can double your income. Also, once you become good at skill, right? When you increase your prices, I mean, it's easy to increase your prices when you're actually good at what you do, right? Because one way a lot of our clients love to have a small practice, right? Really a boutique business, and they grow their business with a small handful of high-paying clients. And it doesn't need to start like that. And in the beginning, it could be charging a bit less, more clients, and then slowly as they get better and better, more skillful across the board. Remember, because this applies everywhere in your sales, marketing, but most importantly in your coaching as well. It's not just about volume. If you focus on becoming really skillful, you can also start charging more because your price is connected to the value that you create, the value they create for your clients, but also the difference that you make for your clients, but also the value that you can articulate to your clients, right? It's not connected to your self-worth as a lot of us coaches think, right? So once you do that, it also really sets you up, number one, to increase your prices. And that's one way you can double your business, right? And another really important thing is, for those of you that want to actually scale your business to multiple six figures or even potentially seven figures, right? This sets you up in a really good way. Because one of the things that we do, right? One of the things that we did with Fatima, by the way, that's not her real name, right? But one of the things that we did with Fatima today is we we set up, like, all our clients use Google Drive, so we set up a folder, right? And we said, hey, in one folder we want you to put all these calls that you successfully booked, and another folder feedback, right? So you copy, and this is something that you can start doing straight away from today, right? Create a folder and copy in a Google document all the calls that you've done that were successfully booked. So maybe this year you booked, maybe you had 20 clients sign up. So go back to those conversations, put them in a folder, and then the calls that you want feedback on. And here's the thing: ideally, you want feedback on every single call, every single conversation, right? And by the way, we're doing this right now. This idea was, you know, like I said in the beginning, like, the sales process has different parts, right? We're doing this right now with Fatima on the appointment setting, right? We've done this already in terms of the actual call, closing the deal, and getting really better at handling objections and all of that. But that's another process after that. There's the follow-up process, right? So you can see that at the skill level, there's so many little things that we can tweak, so many little things that we can improve. And here's the good news, right? The good news is you don't need to master all of it before you can get incredible results, right? Just look at this example. She already has a full practice, right? She's already fully booked, right? And I hope this kind of also gives you a relief, because while I think it's important to learn about marketing and get good at it, you don't need to just start, you don't need to, like, learn the newest marketing tricks and, work double the hours just to grow your business, right? That's That's not true, right? You can work the same amount of hours and get more skillful. So that's one thing. Um, and here's the truth, right? You need someone that's really good at it, a good coach or a good mentor that actually can give you feedback. You can start doing this yourself as well, but then having someone else that can see your blind spots, that's really valuable. And once you've done this, right? We spoke about this earlier. Once you've done this, you also set yourself up to scale because you could potentially hire a team, a sales team, right? And when you've already documented, successful calls, successful conversations on Messenger or DM, right? You can show that to them and you can train them, right? If you're listening to this and you're thinking like, hey, I would love to just get it off my plate. I really don't like this. I'm not good at it. That's a bit too soon. Like you need to get good at it first. Otherwise, you don't know what you're doing with your team. Right. Um, yeah, we, we've talked about quite a few things, but I just want to recap it for you guys, right? Number one, focus really on the skill, right? The old way is about doing more volume, focusing more on intensity, working harder, working longer hours, right? Hoping like I will just get better as I do more, and then focusing on skill as the last thing, right? You want to focus on skill first. The new way is really focus on skill first, then intensity, then increase in intensity, then increase volume as you get better, as you get better. um, yeah, and slow down to speed up, right? Really focus on slowing down to speed up because when you slow down, you focus on getting better, you will actually cover more distance long term, right? You create more income, you make a bigger difference, right, in the lives of your clients, and it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the last point, before you kind of did the recap as well, is really, really important, that you master the skill before you delegate it. We say this to our clients all the time, but that's also really critical for every single person to understand, because and I've seen it in the industry, unfortunately, where people are like, yeah, just hire, delegate, outsource, and that seems to be the buzzword, but actually you need to become masterful at it so that you actually know what's right,
Mm,
and when it's going wrong.
yeah, yeah, 100%. All right, cool. I hope this was valuable for you guys. Um, yeah, wherever you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, let us know. Let us know what was the most valuable thing for you. What's one insight you got from this? And I'd also love to hear what's like one tiny action you can take. Because remember, information, it's not gonna move the needle. It's you being really present and then really thinking about what can I put into practice. We've had this so often that people watch our videos, people just consume our free content and go and create incredible results. In fact, we recently had someone that made 5 figures, closed 3 clients, made almost 10,000 or a little bit over 10,000 after just learning a few free things. So there's a lot of value in this. Maybe watch this again if you weren't fully present, and I would love to connect with you, love to hear what was valuable for you. All right, on that note, we're gonna shoot off, inshallah. If you haven't yet, make sure you click follow, subscribe, all that stuff. A lot of more good stuff is coming your way. Cool. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.